Some people telling me he's a top 15 player. Look at where he's on your list. He's like next up after you core 15. Isn't he right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right off the end.
That's crazy.
There's not 20 players in the game better than Jaylen Brown. No, you're not selling me that.
Yes, there are.
No, there are not.
You know what? This is the same thing that people did with DeMar DeRozan back when he was a Raptor. 25 points per game seduces y'all. You don't see it.
No, I'm not doing that. Nope, Penn. I'm not. I'm not a box score watcher. No, I watch Jaylen Brown, and I watch Jaylen Brown's.
You watch Jaylen Brown on the Celtics. You never seen Jaylen Brown on the Orlando Magic. Okay,
and I don't need to see Jaylen Brown on the Orlando Magic because he plays for the Celtics. Well, he doesn't play for the Orlando. Why would I want to see him?
Fair.
No, why is that not fair, Penn? He doesn't play for the Orlando Magic. He doesn't play for Indiana.
No, context matters. If you're going to individually tell me that one player is definitively better than another, I'm sorry. I'm watching Devin Booker play, and I'm telling you, Devin Booker is better at everything than Jaylen Brown, except
is Devin Booker doing the same thing that he's doing if he's playing for
He's
Toronto?
A better passer. He's a better shooter.
If he's doing it, because if you're going to do that, does Devin Booker's game translate if he's playing in Detroit? Does his game translate if he's playing in Portland?
Devin Booker would be awesome in Detroit. Devin Booker would drop 35 points, 36 points per game in Detroit. What are we doing?
We've seen him in Detroit.
We've seen Devin Booker in Detroit.
Oh, well, in Phoenix,
we've seen him on a bad. We've seen him on a bad team.
It's easier to look like a really good defender. It's really easy. You know. I think I was reading a stat the other day that Peyton Pritchard was like top in the league in points per possession on isolations in playoffs. It was like number 1 to 3. Peyton Pritchard, a hell of a player, but you're not telling me he's the best isolation scorer in the league. There's something that Celtics offense does to unlock players who have limitations, where it pulls you away from some of your limitations because you have so much space. And I'm just saying, if you're operating in a shoebox, yeah, you're going to struggle if you can't pass and you can't dribble as a guard, So I'm sorry, I don't see it. I think Tyrese Maxey's better than him. And people call me crazy for that. I don't care. I'm watching the game. I see what Tyrese Maxey's doing. I see what Tyrese Maxey does in lineups without
Tyrese Maxey's shot creation, and we're just talking offensively.
He's a better shooter. He's a better passer. He's better at a lot of things. He's not a better defender. That's it.
Sounds like Joe Mazzulla need more credit for maximizing these players with these flaws, but
I think the Brad Stevens deserves a lot of credit for, and the Celtics ownership deserves a lot of credit for maxing out and getting 5 basically all league type of players, in that starting lineup. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I've had issues with Jaylen Brown's game the entire way through. I have. And again, I see a lot of DeMar in his game. And you could say he's a little bit burstier or whatever, and Ron looking confused. But I watched DeMar year after year with the Raptors, and I would see lineup data that said the Raptors were better with DeMar on the bench. Every year.
The Celtics aren't better with Jaylen Brown on the bench, though.
But he has the lowest WARP of that starting 5.
That is fair.
But they're still not better with him on the bench, though.
Is he the best defender?
Hold on. Definitely better with him in the lineup.
Hang on.
Numbers or not, I don't care if you pull out a lineup and say, "Oh, they're better with Horford and Porzingis and
it's not a lineup."
Holiday.
Ron, for 51 games in the playoffs with the Raptors, DeMar DeRozan was like the Raptors were better with DeMar DeRozan on the bench for 51 games in the playoffs.
And that rating without Jaylen Brown is higher than with him by 8 points. So I mean,
can we see everybody else's net rating? Can you do that for Tatum? Can you do that for Porzingis?
Do me a favor.
Can you do that for Holiday and White?
Hold on. Is Jaylen Brown a top 3 passer on the Celtics?
Well, they're also better without Jason Tatum.
No. Is he a top 3 defender on the Celtics?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
He's a top 3 defender on the Celtics.
He's arguably. I can make.
There's no argument.
You can.
I don't think he's.
I could make an easier argument that he's the worst defender in that starting 5 than I could.
And that is the fact. And y'all need to listen to Mars talk.
Wait. Hold on. I just want to make sure I'm not losing my mind over here. So, I mean, he gets the assignment. Not only did he get the assignment in the playoffs, but also in the regular season, he does also get the assignment. His ability against guys like bigger guards, because I know who Derek White is as a defender, and I won't argue that. No, Jaylen Brown is more athletic. Jaylen Brown beats guys to spots more. Jaylen Brown, I think is really good.
The off-ball defense at all,
and that's where I was going. I think that's
where
he struggled.
Gets the assignment because he's their worst off-ball defender. And everyone is so good on the ball, including him.
This is the
problem. So why would I get the assignment, Mars? That doesn't make any sense, Mars.
It makes perfect sense. It's about minimizing. It's about minimizing flaws. That's all it is, about minimizing flaw. Derek White is a very good on-ball defender. Drew Holiday, very good on-ball defender. Jason Tatum, very good on-ball defender. Jaylen Brown, very good on-ball defender. Jason Tatum, elite off-ball defender. Derek White, elite off-ball defender. Drew Holiday, very good off-ball defender. Jaylen Brown, mediocre off-ball defender. So you know what we do when we have 4 great on-ball defenders, but one of them isn't very good off the ball? We're going to put him on the ball because that's where he is at his best, and everyone else is also really good off the ball. So it's about minimizing someone's flaws. Jaylen Brown getting main defensive assignments is not because he's better on the ball than Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Jason Tatum. It's because he's worse than them off the ball, and they're all really good at doing that job on the ball. So you just give him the assignment that he's best at while not taking away from anyone else. That doesn't mean he's a better defender than them. It's just about doing what's best for the team.
So can't we use that? So can't we use that same logic? So can't we use that same logic with guys like Derek White? Can't we use that same logic because all of those guys have? Yes, we do. Because don't those guys have flaws also? Because Jason Tatum. So Jason Tatum, for example, Jason Tatum is elite off the ball. Is that correct? Which means if he's elite off the ball, is he the same on the basketball too? So if he's
not, he's better off the ball than he's on.
So if that's true, then why aren't we using that same logic with him? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that with him. Logic. Right. So how is he? So is Jason Tatum a better defender on the ball than Jaylen Brown? Yes, he is a better defender,
and he's better off the ball. What does that tell you?
I'd say they're relatively close on the ball, but Jason Tatum clears off the ball. That's what I would say.
Hold on. I will give Jason Tatum the edge on the ball because he can guard more positions.
I'm still trying to figure out this whole Jason Tatum defense thing. I really am.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Here's the thing. We are more than likely going to be on playback here very soon. I can't wait to do these Celtics games, chill with you and Mars with you, and I need you guys to point out all his defensive, just immaculate, amazing plays that just make him
just go back and watch last year's Oklahoma City game when he played Oklahoma City. Watch the last 5 minutes of the game and what he did against.
There's no way he memorized the game when he was
shut the door on him. Beating him to spots closing out. Just do that.
Anyway. I'm assuming we'll watch. No, because chill. I want to see the whole thing from top to bottom. I want to see a full game. I want to see this year right now. I don't want to go. You can always go back and look at highlights and his best 5 minutes and this and this. I want to see right now. So when we get these playback games, I'm coming into it with an open mind. I'm not coming into it hating on Tatum. I'm chill. I'm gonna be up there with you guys. I can't. Hey, the proof is gonna be in the pudding. Okay. I can't hate on him if he's out there locking up, if he's making the right plays, if he's making high IQ defensive plays, if he's ripping people, if he's blocking shots, if he's this elite off-ball defender that you guys say he is, and he's better than Jaylen Brown definitively. I just want to see it.
Hold on. Ron, what happens to a pick and roll when your 2 can actually guard 4s? What happens to a 2-4 pick and roll when your 2 can actually guard 4s?
It gets blown up.
Exactly. So when you have to guard Peyton Pritchard on that switch, now you have to scram. Now you have to send rotations. But with Jason Tatum, you don't have to rotate shit. If he gets switched on to a big, you're cool. If he gets switched on to a guard, he has enough length to contest that. That's the difference. Jason Tatum is vastly better on defense, and he's vastly better on offense. And I'm getting people telling me that Jaylen Brown, of course you won't, Joe. Of course you won't. But and I'm having people saying it's neck and neck between these two because this guy got Finals MVP. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not that cut and dry.
My issue,
such a cookie
my issue, my issue
been having Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum conversations on this platform for 2 years.
It's been a while though since we had this, Morris.
I've been picking Jason Tatum every single time. So.
And as you should. But my issue is like you said, Mars. You just mentioned I'm going to use what your flaws are because essentially what it sounds like to me is you're using these guys to protect him more than anything because he's not as good. He's not as good at this stuff than you guys are, right? Yeah. So if I got a guy I got better on-ball defenders, but he's not as good off the ball, but I got better off-ball defenders. So I'm gonna put my best guy. I'm gonna put this guy who's not as good on the basketball on the rest of the on this guy. When I do that, wouldn't I be putting him in a pretty precarious situation? For example, why am I putting him on Luka when Tatum can cover him better? Why am I?
Nobody can guard anybody one-on-one. So you're gonna. Okay, here's the problem. If you're a bad off-ball defender, you're gonna get cut. You're gonna get cut all day.
I don't think he's a bad one-on-one defender.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown's better one-on-one defensively than Jaylen Brown.
But here's the thing.
Than Jason Tatum. Sorry.
Even if you could say that Jaylen Brown on a 2-guard is better than Jason Tatum on a 2-guard, which I could at least hear you out in a one-on-one situation. Right. The minute you get switched, that entire situation is flipped in Jason Tatum's favor. The minute you get cross smash in transition, like that has to count. It has to count for me that if Jaylen Brown is the first guy back and Jason Tatum's the first guy back, I trust one of those guys way more to guard a big. That has to matter in terms of one-on-one defense, because this is not a lab. You don't just get to say, okay, you're only exclusively going to guard wings, Jaylen Brown, because if that's the case, sure, Jaylen Brown's a better one-on-one defender. Jason Tatum still clears him on everything else. Help defense, rotations in terms of gapping the passing lanes, in terms of being a rim protector, post defense, rebounding, all of it. So I'm sorry, he's not a top 3 passer on his team. He is probably a top 2 scorer on his team. I'll give you that, but that's it. That's the only thing. He's not a top 3 passer. He's not a top 3 defender. He's not a top 3 player on his team.
I don't think that. Wow.
Okay, so who's the 3 best Celtics? Because I feel like
he might be the 3rd best player if Kristaps Porzingis is not healthy.
Which he will.
So who's the
Jason?
Rank the Celtics 1 through 5. Rank the Celtics 1 through 5.
Who's their best player?
Jason Tatum.
You want me to go viral for this, eh?
Okay. No,
yes.
You brought it up. You're the one who brought this up, Penn. So who's their best player?
Jason Tatum.
Who's their 2nd best player?
Jrue Holiday.
Who's their 3rd best player?
Wait. Who?
He said Jrue Holiday. That's what we said. He said Jrue Holiday. Who's their 3rd best player?
I'm torn between KP, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown. It's a 3-way tie between those 3.
And where's the separation between Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis? What separates those 2?
Kristaps Porzingis is a better rim protector. He is a better rebounder. He is a better spacer. I think his basketball IQ and overall playmaking chops are just as good, if not better. And
would that be because of the offense? I want you to keep going, but would that be because of the offense that he's in? Because it makes him more switchable. They put Kristaps in a lot of action where he's where he gets a lot more advantages and he's a lot more mismatches. So would that be because of the offense?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, they do the same thing for Jaylen Brown too, who I think Jaylen Brown's one of the best transition players in the game.
Facts.
They do the same thing for him. So with that being said, now you just
KP is an all-star level player.
Okay.
I don't get how Jrue Holiday separated himself from the rest of those guys.
I was getting to
that's what I don't get. I don't know how it's just not a 4-way tie, but I guess.
What I'm asking, Penn, is so it sounds to me like between KP and Jaylen Brown, it sounds like it's close. It sounds like with KP's offense, because KP is versatile as an offensive player, and he gets himself in a lot of mismatches where he can take advantage of that. Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, one of the best transition players in the game, not only one of the better transition players in the game, who's dumbed down his handle to minimize his mistakes. The defense between these two, because KP is a better, let's say, rim protector, Jaylen Brown, one-on-one, is just as good. So where's the separation between those two guys?
You saying I'm saying that the separation is clearly defensively. Like I'm elevating
KP and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, because here's the thing: the Celtics have 6 really good defenders, right? You could definitely lift Jrue Holiday into the tier of excellent defender. If you really value positional versatility, you could also do something similar for Jason Tatum. Everybody else is just a really good defender. I think Derek White is a more valuable defender than perhaps the rest of the field. But Kristaps Porzingis is right there. Like as a rim protector, Kristaps Porzingis has really turned a corner for me. Like I noticed it when he was in Washington. I was just like, this guy is just swatting shit at the rim. And we value rim protection here because we gave Rudy Gobert 4 Defensive Player of the Years. We gave Jaren Jackson the Defensive Player of the Year. We gave Dikembe Mutombo 5. And the guy who's protecting the most efficient place on the court. And honestly, for a Celtics team that likes to run, takes a lot of long shots, guys do run in transition. And it's valuable to me that you have a big who can run the court and actually block some shots and get back. And in terms of vertical spacing, like in terms of the floor, you could say, yeah, sure, maybe Jaylen Brown would do a better job lifting a mediocre offense than Kristaps Porzingis because he has better creation and whatever. But I think those turnovers would be insane. If you take that spacing away, like his ball skills and some of his handle and loose handle, inability to read doubles, like you're very lucky he doesn't face as many doubles as he does. Because I've seen him face a double team on like last night. I think he was going at Davion Mitchell or Ochai Agbaji. He was going at Ochai Agbaji and he was hitting a brick wall. He turns his back to the help, and he has a blind spot, and Grady just picks the ball. And Grady's not a good defender. Grady's a terrible defender.
This is exactly why, Mars. This is the logic right here as I'm talking about when I talk about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in terms of separation. This logic right here. He doesn't see the same coverages. He doesn't have the same responsibility on offense.
Absolutely.
This is why when I talk about Jason Tatum, I use this logic right here. Off the strength.
Let me support your man right now. Let me just say this one thing. We want. Like I think some of us, especially the old school heads, are like, we don't want these guys hunting stats. We want these guys to care about winning. Well, here's the thing: if one guy is doubled and the other guy is streaking open, we want that pass to go to the other guy. When one guy has drawn the best defender on the other team and the other guy is basically, camping out in a corner and he has a non-defender on him, we want the ball to swing to the guy who has the easier matchup because that's going to lead to easier offense. We never stop and think how much Jason Tatum sacrificed to get them through the playoffs. Like he didn't shoot well, fine. He had some hiccups with his jump shot, fine. But the fact is, if I'm a coach and I have to pick which one of these two I'm going to let go off for 40, I'm picking Jaylen Brown. Because I know that Jason Tatum's going to do a better job playmaking, even though he's not a great playmaker. He's not Luka, he's not Shea, whatever, but he's better. I think the turnovers, right? Like if Jason Tatum gets going, he's going to lift everybody else up, right? So Jason Tatum taking on that role of facilitator, sacrificing with Team USA, not pouting, not being, sulky, still trying to do his best to support his teammates. Jason Tatum just, it's so weird to me that we walked into last season with Jason Tatum potentially as a top 5 player in the NBA, and now people are suddenly down on him. And this guy just won a gold medal and an NBA championship. And we are lower on him because of our individualistic obsession and because Jaylen Brown got the Finals MVP and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I don't care about that stuff. I know. I watch the games. I know who's covering who, and I know that if I'm an opposing coach, I know which one of these two players I am more worried about on defense. That's it.
You had me, but you said Jrue Holiday's better than.
Okay, I mean you can split hairs. Jrue Holiday's getting a little bit up there. Maybe Jrue Holiday's taking a step back.
That's not splitting hairs. That's not splitting hairs.
But I'm with you on the overall.
Jaylen Brown is better than him. Saying. He is.
Yeah, the overall concept of what you're saying of Jaylen Brown isn't as good.
If you're gonna say straight up efficient offense, fine. You can say the load and creation of a Jaylen Brown, but how much of that is team construct? Look, again, when I see Jaylen Brown, I see DeMar DeRozan with slightly better defense and slightly worse passing, and that to me is not a top 15 player. That's not, and I wouldn't take DeMar DeRozan over a Kyle Lowry. I didn't take DeMar DeRozan over a Jrue Holiday. I don't value that as much because low efficiency, high turnover creation is not what wins you championships. That's what gets you 8 seed every year. So high level, championship teams have high efficiency creators. And the gap, right? And look, Jaylen Brown can masquerade as a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type. Occasionally, he can do some of the same stuff. He didn't do it like Shai. He's not as good as Shai. He can masquerade with a couple of possessions where he's going to try to do some Luka stuff. He's not Luka.
I don't think anybody argue. I don't think anybody's arguing that. I think the issue is Jaylen Brown is less than when you're talking about him and Jason Tatum. I won't argue that, but I wouldn't put him in the same category with guys like DeMar DeRozan off the strength that
DeMar's got a deeper bag. DeMar's got a deeper bag, and Jaylen Brown's a better shooter.
The fact that Jaylen Brown has dumbed down his turnovers because he's dumbed down his handle and he's gotten to spots differently than he did in years past because he was doing too much. I think that says a lot about his game. On top of that, him as a defender, how much smarter he's gotten. And sure, Penn, you can say that, you playing on a better defensive team. Well, that's not my fault. That's not my fault because I play somewhere with a bunch of damn good players. What you're not going to do is you're not going to move me from the 6-bedroom house I live in to live in the projects and go, let me see you live in the projects. No, you're not going to do that. And that's what you're trying to do with Jaylen Brown. He's effective playing on the Boston Celtics. And today, with the Boston Celtics, for the way his game is, even though it does translate to other teams, the way his game is today, he is a top 20 player in the NBA off the strength of how good he is in transition.
How can you have an almost 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio and be a top 20 player in the league? Help me make you better be like if let me ask you a question. This is a fair question. If right now we swapped Jaylen Brown for Cade Cunningham on the Detroit Pistons, are the Detroit Pistons going to the playoffs?
Penn, that's a bad example. Nobody's dragging.
That's a great example because now you don't have the floor raising. You don't have Jason Tatum anymore. You don't have KP. You don't have this spread out offense. You don't have great defenders around you. So now you're going to carry Jaden Ivey. Like, look, we malign a lot of players.
Nobody's carrying them to the playoffs though.
No,
I feel like this whole conversation.
That's not true.
This whole conversation.
If I put Giannis in place of Cade, he would carry them to the playoffs. If I put Joel Embiid, forget about Joel Embiid. If I put Jason Tatum on the Boston on the Detroit Pistons right now, yes, he would.
No, he's not. No, he's not. And see, this is what I'm trying to say. You didn't just knock. You didn't knock Jaylen Brown all the way down to the basement, and now you're trying to push Jason Tatum all the way up to the attic. That's not happening. It's look, the Celtics do the same thing with Jaylen Brown as they do with Jason Tatum. Like it or love it, they're the same exact team. If Jaylen Brown takes them to the, I'm not saying it looks the same. I'm not saying it looks. They achieve the same amount of team success.
So if you take Jaylen Brown off the Boston Celtics, you think they still win the NBA championship?
What are you replacing him with?
And who are you replacing him with?
If you replace him with DeMar DeRozan,
so if you put Cade Cunningham on the,
yes. If you replace him with Zach LaVine and he's healthy, hell yes, they win a championship. Yes. If you
the 74,
I'm not lying.
I don't disagree with that. They are that good. The Celtics are that good. But we're not about to do all of this to knock Jaylen Brown.
There's a reason why they're that good, with these good
guys. We're trying to put a realistic perspective because what I feel is when you start calling him better than Spider Mitchell, I think you've lost the plot.
No, but who said that though?
I don't know. The only person I know who like holds Jaylen Brown to that level.
Do you guys have him higher than Donovan Mitchell on your list?
Nobody up here has him.
No one had him. The only person I think might is Ox, but. The 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio thing confuses me because I'm pretty sure Wemby has a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
He's a center, and he was a rookie.
Joel Embiid. I mean, we've had plenty of guys. Joel Embiid,
him being a rookie doesn't change that you think he's top 20.
But
top 10 at the end of the season.
I think
Dwight Howard had that. Dwight Howard was a top 5 player, and he had a.
So if you have to compare a guard, allegedly one of the best guards in the league, to Dwight Howard, you've already lost the argument.
No, absolutely not. And the reason why
you said what player had a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
You didn't say wing.
Top 20 player.
And not only did you not say that.
Or guard, what wing or guard had a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio and was considered a top 20 player? I'll hold my breath.
Bad example, Penn, because
we're not great example. Carmelo averaging in his prime. That's what we need to find. How many turnovers?
There's no way in hell.
What is Jeremy Grant?
What
is Jeremy Grant doing out in Portland? I mean,
when did Melo become a top 20 player?
Probably by 2003, year 4.
2005. He averaged
2006.
He averaged 2.7 assists and 2.7 turnovers.
Exactly. That's 1-to-1 right there.
Let's go.
That's
right. Try. I do this.
All right, y'all. We do got to move on because we got to get to these All NBA teams.
Carmelo clears though.
But
I agree. But I do this, man.
Damn it.
We will see if Jaylen Brown does make an All NBA team. We'll see if Drew Holiday does. We'll see if Kristaps Porzingis does. Hell, we'll see if Jason Tatum does as well.